This segment is sponsored by SinuSonic. Stop nasal congestion with a mess-free, drug-free medical device called SinuSonic. We have Dr. Schlosser joining us now from MUSC on how this device works. Doctor, good morning to you. We are so happy to have you on the show.
Morning, Erin. Thanks for having me.
I want to know more about this new device. I know it just came out in 2020. Tell me a little bit more about, what it does and the science behind it.
So SinuSonic was invented by a pulmonologist and a sleep specialist in Columbia, South Carolina. And he was used to using oscillating positive pressure and acoustic energy to mobilize the mucus of patients who have thick, viscous secretions in their lungs, so like cystic fibrosis. And he applied the same principles to patients who have nasal congestion and sinus congestion. And he came to us because we do a lot of research on new technologies and new therapies. And so we designed a clinical trial to really answer the question of, does it really work for patients? Because we wanted to make sure that scientifically and medically it was valid before we recommended it to our patients. So we executed a study, a clinical trial that had not only patient symptom scores, but also we measured airflow through the nose. So something that you really wanted to detect a biologic signal that we were actually improving the airways of these patients. And over 80% of patients saw improvement. So we looked at patients who had nasal congestion for, in most cases, for years and had tried a lot of over-the-counter sprays and antihistamines and other things. And they found benefit oftentimes within minutes, but then that benefit continued to improve even out to 2 to 4 weeks. So we were really excited and we published that in the medical literature. And so now we're kind of, have embraced it and think it's a great strategy.
Right. As you've been talking, Doctor, you can't see it yourself because we're on Zoom, but we've been playing a video of how it works, and it's pretty cool. I see here that the vibrations, it plays the sound and the vibration, you put it over your nose. Is it uncomfortable? Does it hurt at all as you're, holding it up there?
No. So it actually, the vibrations and kind of the humming sound actually tickle a little bit.
Okay.
So, and we've asked our patients in our clinical trials if they had pain or any side effects or nosebleeds or anything, and they didn't. And those are common things that I hear in my clinic, that patients don't like sprays or rinses because of a lot of those side effects and challenges with tolerating those types of therapies, which are very common and they work, but there's just a compliance issue that we deal with.
Right. We were talking during the commercial break, for women who are pregnant and can't take medicine. I said, I remember trying the neti pot, which I was not a fan of. And that's hard for a lot of people when you say the sprays and the liquids and stuff. So this is, just a different alternative, right, that people might like a lot better.
It absolutely is, Erin. And the kind of the cool thing about it is there's no drugs, there's no rinses, there's no surgery or procedures. So it's really kind of a natural treatment. We think it releases nitric oxide, which is a molecule that's produced in the sinuses that has that improves mucus clearance. It's also antibacterial and antiviral. So we're in the midst of conducting additional studies beyond nasal congestion that improves breathing and mucus clearance, but looking at it as an antiviral therapy.
Wow.
For things like the common cold or COVID, also as other conditions like eustachian tube dysfunction and sinus pain and pressure that's really not due to infection. So there are other things that we're studying and trying to kind of advance the field and come up with new therapies and emerging technology.
Right. It's got to be pretty exciting for you and your crew. I mean, this is what you do. This is your area of expertise. And to find something that works and that offers relief and potentially has all those other benefits, as you just mentioned. Who would you really recommend, though, that looks at SinuSonic and purchases the device?
So the patients that it's probably not going to work on or really not going to work on very well are those that have maybe structural problems. So maybe a broken nose or a crooked septum. And those are blockages due to crooked bone and cartilage in the nose that oftentimes require surgery. Now, most of us also have mucosal problems. So that's things like allergies or, viruses cause swelling. Pregnancy causes swelling of the tissue. And those are the patients that really seem to respond to the SinuSonic. So if you have kind of a fluctuating nasal blockage, it's probably a soft tissue component. Mm-hmm. Those are the patients that are going to respond to SinuSonic in a greater likelihood than those that have structural problems.
Right. What do the patients say afterwards, after they use that, and they're like, wow, that worked?
Yeah, so I was skeptical at first, which is why we wanted to do the research before we really embraced it and recommended it. And but then when it worked, my partner and I were like, wow, this is pretty amazing. And all the parameters worked. So it's not just a placebo effect. And so we were excited, and patients are excited. We've got a lot of great feedback, quite honestly. And it's really made so that patients will enjoy using it. It's also one of the cheaper alternatives, cheaper than medications and prescriptions and things like that. So we really tried to design it so that it provides the most benefit for the greatest number of patients.
That's wonderful. We have the website on the screen, SinuSonic.com. Is that the best place to purchase it? What do you recommend?
Absolutely, it is. It's also on Amazon.com. But at SinuSonic.com, there are videos where we talk about the research and the science and why this was invented and why it makes sense that it actually works. So there's a lot of good information on the website.
Absolutely. We thank you so much for your time today, and how exciting to find this new device that is offering relief for people.
Awesome. Thanks,
All right.
Aaron.
Thank you for your time. SinuSonic, SinuSonic.com is where you can go for more information to purchase, or simply go on Amazon and look it up. And we're going to take a break. We've got more Lowcountry Live right after this.